welcome to another video. This is going to be a one-off video as I don't normally cover UFC fights, but I have to talk about the Ronda Rousey upset which happened, I guess, today or last night in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia. Ronda Rousey has lost her first fight in UFC, getting beat by Holm by a second round knockout. I'm not, like, before this video sort of goes ahead, I'm a big boxing fan. I'm a UFC fan, but I don't follow UFC that much, and I don't know all the sort of names and the terms and that sort of stuff. But I do follow it enough to know sort of the opponent names and backgrounds and sort of all the sort of media around it. So, of course, people will agree, disagree with me, whatever. But so anyway, this is about the sort of this is the Holm versus Ronda Rousey fight review. So, if people do follow UFC, and like the casual fan like me, and people will be the hardcore fan as well, people will know who Ronda Rousey is. She was the current UFC bantamweight champion, and she was seen as, in many eyes, as sort of the best women's UFC champion ever. She had beaten, literally she was like the Mike Tyson of boxing in like Mike Tyson's early career. Finishing opponents within a couple of rounds, not breaking a sweat at all in doing so, and just collecting loads of money and getting a lot of media coverage, sort of exposure at the same time. And there's a lot of similarities with Mike Tyson and Ronda Rousey, but it's not about Mike Tyson, it's about Ronda Rousey. So she beat, I think it's, I can't pronounce the name properly, I think it's Betch, I can't pronounce it, but if people do know who she fought last time in Brazil, knockout won. That was like her last 3 fights, are like combined of like over a minute or something. It's really something stupid like that. She broke all these different type of records, and now she fought Holm, who was a former world boxing champion, a former kickboxing champion. She had the height, she had the reach, and she can kick as well, which is obviously quite. I'm not going to say uncommon, because obviously UFC fighters obviously can obviously kick and punch, but in the bantamweight sort of scene, for the people that Ronda Rousey has fought, and her as well, I rarely see people kick effectively in the bantamweight division. So Holm, I think she had 9 wins, obviously undefeated as well, and then she had a fair few wins by stoppage with kicks. And because obviously she's so tall, she's got obviously the height, which obviously extends to her legs as well. People were saying that she's got a real fight on her hands for Ronda Rousey. I knew this would be a tough fight with her, because anyone who's got good reach and can use it as well, and because she's got a boxing background, sometimes doesn't always mean you're going to win the fight. But because she has the reach and she can punch, I mean, yeah, she might not be the best puncher ever, but I think she had over, like, I think she had 38 fights, 9 knockouts, which obviously is not a massive, it's not a great ratio, but it's still a ratio nonetheless. So when the fight comes around, always big exposure, because Ronda Rousey is like the sort of the poster girl for UFC at the minute. She's in like cameos for films, Ring magazine. She was starting like the first non-boxer to start it, which obviously caused a lot of controversy. I can understand why, but it's kind of weird how a UFC fighter is in the boxing magazine, but that's sort of not really relevant to this conversation. But yeah, so she's done interviews, been on talk shows, like I said, movies, doing photo shoots. So yeah, she was sort of the face of UFC. So in comes Holm, just goes about her business. Like I said, former kickboxing and boxing champion, trying to obviously win a UFC title. And the fight obviously goes ahead, the weigh-in fine. There was a bit of a scuffle between the weigh-in, but I think that sort of tried to sort of sell the fight even more. But because Ronda Rousey's got a massive following, people are going to watch the fight and pay for it regardless. So that's kind of pointless to sort of make it a lot more sort of bigger than it is, because the fight's already sold, people are going to tune in regardless. So just weigh in, face off, or have a stare down as normal, and just carry on the fight. So anyway, the fight starts, and I haven't seen the full fight, but I've seen enough to obviously know what's going on. So in the first round, Holm caught Ronda Rousey multiple times with punches, particularly left hand, and there was one punch where she caught Ronda Rousey flush in the face, and Ronda Rousey did like a little dance. She had her legs backward, and she sort of like fell and sort of rotated back onto the cage. And I noticed the game plan was all wrong for Ronda Rousey. She was charging in there, and it's like, if you don't have the right game plan, to go into someone Ronda Rousey isn't tall. I think she's like 5'11" or something, and obviously Holly Holm is a lot taller. She's at least 6 foot or something. I could be wrong. I'm not the best of heights. And Ronda Rousey is obviously, she's got not the height or the reach to obviously go against Holly Holm in that regard. Holly Holm obviously is taller, she's got longer reach, she's got longer legs, so obviously she's going to have the advantage. And it was clearly evident that she was getting outworked and outpunched. And yeah, she did get the odd takedown here and there, Ronda Rousey did, but it wasn't effective. She was going to go for a signature armbar, which has finished a lot of her previous opponents, but it wasn't going to work with this fight. So the round then, because I think in UFC you've got 5-minute rounds, which obviously is different to boxing rounds. So Ronda Rousey was in the corner, she was clearly tired, red in the face, the punches obviously having a clear effect, and he knew that their camp didn't really have a backup plan or plan B. So in obviously round 2, same happened again. Ronda Rousey kept charging out of there, and I guess quite predictably you would say she got caught. A good punch from Holly Holm caught Ronda Rousey flush. Ronda Rousey got stunned. Good big kick to the neck, right sort of flush heel here, and then she was out. And then Holly Holm followed up by hitting her repeatedly on the ground, and she blooded her face up as well. She got I think a split lip or something up from the results of the punishment, and obviously the fight was over. So she's now the UFC. Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry, UFC saying boxing terms. The UFC bantamweight women's champion with a improved record of 10-0, and to be fair, I do like Holly Holm more than Ronda Rousey, because when I haven't followed UFC for a while, but I followed Ronda Rousey every now and then, and she seemed like the sort of down to earth, sort of a standard background. I mean, her mum was a mixed martial arts as well, so like she does have a background in it. But at the beginning, she seemed quite sort of humble and stable, not sort of believing her own hype and that. And that's the one problem with her that I've sort of seen. She's believing her own hype, which is wrong. And credit to Holly Holm. She's now obviously the champion. People say rematch. I think there will probably be a rematch because it will sell tickets as well, and obviously sport nowadays obviously a big part of it is sell tickets and sell pay-per-view. It'd be quite a good rematch. I think if you have it in America, because they're both obviously American, that'd be good. Sort of good homecoming for Holly Holm. Can Ronda Rousey be if she changes her game plan and sort of just sticks to her fighting and not sort of because in the weigh-in she was sort of trying to like goad Holm to sort of get down to her level, sort of mind games like sort of other fighters have done. It might have worked for Ronda Rousey's previous opponents, but Holly Holm's got a good background in boxing and multiple world champion, and she's got a kickboxing background as well. And it was clearly evident in her fights leading up to this that she can box, she can fight, she can do groundwork as well, she can kick as well, clearly evident in this fight. So Ronda Rousey has to go back and sort of, I guess we could say, she has to go back to the drawing board, reevaluate it. I mean, she can win it because she's a good fighter. She can't have got to this stage without being a good fighter. Yeah, the quality of opponents can be questionable, but everyone's going to question their opponents because everyone questions everyone now in terms of in any sport, boxing, football, rugby, anyone. It's always going to get questioned. That's just how the media works. But I do think if she's going to win the title back, she's a different game plan. But credit to Holly Holm. So it's a one-off UFC boxing video. Sorry, UFC video. If you like it, give it a like and a comment. Express your views down in the comments below as well. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in my next video, which will be obviously boxing related or gaming related. But you never know, if another big upset in the UFC comes about, I might do a video on it. But I hope you enjoyed it. That's the next video.